Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Silly Cars Showdown. This time we are taking a look at the Mazdaspeed 3. So I wanted to run a proper front wheel drive car around this course. Of course we've had the Citroen 2CV, but that doesn't really count. I wanted a modern front wheel drive car to see what sort of time it would set, and I was looking through them and I came across the Mazdaspeed 3, which is a car which is often forgotten about these days when it comes to Forza, but it's still a pretty cool car, one of my personal favourites of the sort of hot hatches. It's a really awesome little car, this, and I'm hoping it's going to do quite well. Now, as far as engine swaps and stuff is concerned, I actually do not know. Of course, the only rule of this series is that it cannot have a drivetrain swap, which is fine because we're supposed to front wheel drive anyway. So, what engines can we actually stick in this? We have the 3.7 litre V6 or the Turbo Rally unit. Neither engine's particularly super exciting. I think I'm going to chance it on the stock engine. It should be pretty good. 2.3 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder. Should get a fair amount of power. Not actually sure how much power it will get, but we will have to have a look. There are some very odd looking tuning parts. I'm going to want full aero basically for this one because it's a front-wheel drive car. I need to try to alleviate understeer as much as possible. I guess it makes delivery a bit more consistent, so sod it. It also apparently boosts PI slightly, so again, sod it. That gives us slightly less drag, so we'll have that as well, because why not? And that apparently saves some weight, so yeah, okay, no worries. We'll go for all those parts. It kind of removes the silly hood scoop, which I think this does actually look better without the hood scoop. Right, of course we are going to want race tyres. What tyre widths do we get? 255s. Not massive tyres, but they will be a help nonetheless. And of course, because it is a front wheel drive car, it has exactly the same tyre widths on the rear as it does on the front. There's a couple of exceptions to that. There's never a car which has bigger tyre widths on the front than the rear, as far as I'm aware. I've never seen that happen, so yeah, no need to worry about that one. But most of the time when a car is either full-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, it'll have exactly the same tyre widths on the rear as it does on the front. So we'll just go through, and we of course will want every single handling piece we can come across. Again, it's all about trying to get some front-end grip when it comes to this Mazda. Probably a good idea to try and take as much weight away from the front end as possible, and that's what roll cage is going to do, so we're definitely going to go for that. 60%. Also, chassis rigidity would help us quite a bit. 56%, okay. That really is some pretty good weight distribution for a front-wheel drive car. However, of course, we now get on to the major upgrades, and they're probably going to put more of the weight over the front. Not actually sure how much power we're going to get out of this. If we get under 500, I'm probably just going to go ahead and stick an engine swap in it because, yeah, may as well. So far, doesn't seem to be doing anything particularly major. 408 horsepower, it's climbing. I think we are probably going to get over 500 because we still have the turbo to go. It's climbing PI quite nicely as well. You know, it's not quite as high a PI car as most of the ones that we've had. We've had R-Class cars and all sorts, but 615 horsepower, wow, okay. Yeah, the stock engine really can get more power than I would give it credit for. Yeah, of course, I mean, the PI isn't going to be as wild as it is on some of the other cars. We've had stuff like, you know, even the Nissan Safari and stuff that was R825, I believe. I'm just seeing if any of this takes any of the weight off the front end. It doesn't. It stays at a solid 56%, which is actually pretty darn impressive. Wasn't quite expecting it to basically leave all of the weight sort of in the middle of the car, but I'm impressed that it has done that. Anyways, 638 horsepower, 573 foot-pound torque, 2,775 pounds of weight, 56% of the weight over the front end. S749 front engine front wheel drive. Statistically, not one of the craziest cars we've ever had. However, it is front wheel drive, so it could be very crazy to drive. To find out if it is mental to drive, to find out if it's actually drivable, we should take it to Brands Hatch. Alright, we are on track with our front wheel drive Mazdaspeed 3, ready to see how this takes on the track. As always, it is going to get 7 laps to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the all-petrol BMW i8 V10, that's at a time of 46.006. The Mazdaspeed 3 probably going to get nowhere near that because that was a P-Class car, this is a mid-S-Class car, and that was also all-wheel drive and had a lot more power and had a lot more pretty much everything. As far as where the Mazda should be aiming, well, our current slowest car is the only other front-wheel drive car we've had, and that's the Citroen 2C VTEC, which set a time of 52.799. Yeah, this is probably going to be quicker than that, although PI-wise, I believe the Citroen in this are actually pretty close. Citroen, of course, a lot lighter, and I believe because of the VTEC unit, it did actually have slightly more power. However, of course, that is a much older chassis. The Mazdaspeed 3 is a relatively modern front-wheel drive car, which is a good sign. And speaking of good signs, that is a decent enough opening gambit. Ooh, can I get it stopped for this corner, though? Going out very, very wide. Going into that first corner. A lot of people have a lot of issues through that first corner. I'm not going to exclude myself from that, although usually I can get it just about okay. Gotta get a little bit of a steer wide, or understeer, sorry, wide on the way out. I've got to say, for a front-wheel drive car with around about 650 horsepower, this is handling positively well, actually. As long as you don't, like, put all of the power down at once. I mean, if I do, it'll just spin the front wheels aimlessly, like most front-wheel drive cars. It actually seems to be able to handle its power pretty darn well, which is, I wouldn't say it's a surprise, but it is pretty good. 51.966 actually means that it also beats out the F100, which again, that was another S-Class car. Or was the F100 A-Class? I think it was an S-Class car. Most of the cars that have gone around this track before are R-Class, the Nissan Safari, the Zenvo, and the 928 were, and then the i8 was P-Class, so yeah, this, for one of the lower PI cars we've had go around, this seems to be setting up a pretty good fight so far. Maybe not quite as quick as the Citroen, either in a straight line, but again, in terms of pure handling, this is better than the Citroen. In terms of its gearbox, it's better than the Citroen. Pretty much everything is better, but then again, I can't really say that's too surprising. Ooh, I'm going to get a little bit of some wheel spin coming out there. A 50.685. That is very surprising. That actually puts it sort of midway in between the Safari and the 2C VTEC. Oh, sorry, the Safari and the F100, which is quite interesting. That's sort of a completely blank space on our leaderboard currently. Yeah, this actually does show quite a lot of hope for front-wheel drive cars in the future. You'd think front-wheel drive cars would be very much at a disadvantage, especially a track like Brands Hatch. You know, this is a track all about the corners, and in these more powerful front-wheel drive cars, you know, sure, in lower-powered front-wheel drive cars it's fine, but in these higher-powered ones, yeah, they really do not like sort of having traction and so on and so forth. But the Mazda seems to be getting on fairly well, and if the Mazda's getting along well, you know, maybe they could be rather competitive cars. Again, there's not really... The good thing with Brands Hatch Indy is, while you sort of look at it and go, it's a sort of simple course, so maybe it benefits straight line speed vehicles, or you look at it and you know Brands Hatch already, and you're like, actually Brands Hatch really is a cornering circuit. To be honest with you, it really is pretty balanced when it comes to these cars. You know, they're not really proficient in either... you don't really need to be proficient in either straight line speed or handling. You need a really good mix of both to do well around here. And truth be told, the Mazda is pretty darn on it. And it's also pretty consistent as well. We are setting mid-tier 50 times, a 50.556 for the Mazda. Could probably get it down a little bit more. I think I'm sort of starting to reach the limit of the sort of time we can get, and the thing is with this car is I really do not want to push my luck with it, because yeah, it's just front wheel drive, 600 horsepower. It's a recipe for disaster if I start really trying to hammer it home. But yeah, it's a really very, very excellent in terms of its driving dynamics as we come on to our final lap with the Mazda. Gonna get a bit more wheel spin out of there. I so want to get a sub 50, but there is no way I'm going to be able to do that unless everything goes well on this lap. 50.517 was the final time on that last lap. Running the curbs a little bit too much through there. That's, I think, pretty much the only time I've actually gone full throttle on this course yet, and yeah, probably not the wisest idea in the world. Although this is apparently a quicker lap. I don't know by how much though. Get it stopped into the final corner. Very, very smooth car as well. That's what I kind of like. It's almost an easy car to drive, which again, it's got 600 horsepower and front-wheel drive. It's just really very, very surprising. A 50.266, the final time for the Mazdaspeed 3. That could actually have gone quicker. Again, I do genuinely think I could have maybe done sub 50 if this car was quick enough. Or rather, if I sort of kept going, I really do think this could get sub 50. Incredible, incredible car to drive. Anyways, the 50.266 will put it into 5th place. It goes just underneath the Nissan Safari, loses out to that by about a second and a half, but again, that's an R-Class car. And it beats the F100 out by about 2 seconds, and that's an S-Class car as well, so yeah. Mighty dominance performance from the Mazda 3. Very, very good car. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silly Car Showdown. As always, if you have cars you'd like to request for this series, you can do so in the comment section. And if you like this sort of silliness, you can come subscribe to my channel. My name's Emile. My link is in the description. Thank you all very much for watching. And until next time, farewell.